What is going on? What is going on? It's your boy Julien Stoutt, licensed personal trainer, licensed PE teacher, world record powerlifter, here to take the fear out of fitness. We are about to take off and class is in session. So, let's start with the elephant in the room. I actually aired live on Sunday, only to find out that I did it again. Stupid me. Turn around and I forgot to undo the mute button because I normally mute so that way you don't get reverb back with the music. And I'm working it. It's a work in progress. So I will be making improvements over time and the show will be better. But there was a simple fix that I could have made a long time ago. Shout out to my mom who called me to let me know that it wasn't a good look at that time. And I totally just abandoned the entire video, since all you can do is hear the theme music, hear the videos that I was playing, but you could not hear my voice and could not hear my input to the conversation. So I'm here now. I have an easy fix. It won't happen again. At least not to my knowledge, it won't happen again. And we are going to move on with the show. So, in the original show, I was originally beginning the discussion with the United Health Care CEO being murdered. We now know who is alleged to have done it. His name is Luigi Mangione, and ironically, he is not some person that lacked the means and capabilities of being able to take care of himself and or his family being able to take care of themselves either. And meaning he's financially well off. His family at least was financially well off. And that doesn't diminish what I actually said in the original video, because in the original video, I'm going to explain to you what I said. It is not okay to murder somebody in cold blood just to prove a point or just because you feel you have a cause to do so. It is barbaric, it is asinine, and it does not solve the problem, because all you're going to do is create more chaos, make people cement their feet into the position that they're in. On top of all of that, you do nothing more than, well, it's next man up. So yeah, it's like Hydra. You take off one head, two shall appear. So you're not doing anything to dismantle the system by committing murder. Number one. Number two, while I do understand society's frustration with the healthcare system, celebrating this man's death is also callous and cold. Now, as you well know, or those of you who watch my channel more frequently than not, you know that I did a video on the healthcare provider that my wife was serviced by at one point in time, which was Kaiser Permanente. And the title of it was Kaiser Permanente Can Kiss My Ass. And I am not going to, even though I know my mom watches, I'm not going to sugarcoat this situation, because she knows the ordeal that my wife went through. She knows the ordeal that I personally went through, dealing with the ordeal that my wife went through, the emotional toll that it took on me personally, being in fear of my wife's safety, and in the future being in fear of my wife's safety because of the behavior and the attitudes of those who make these decisions whether to cover or not cover a medical expense. The question that I also brought up to make people think about is, if people are getting anywhere between a 1 to a 10% kickback for the service that is being denied, what is the repercussion for that person that was denying these claims so many times, or if not one time unnecessarily, when the company doesn't get to recoup any of the money that they paid out to said agent. So let me put it to you this way. Let me give it to you in a way that you can understand. So let's say you have a surgery and that surgery is $10,000. 1 to 10% is anywhere between $100 to $1,000, right? And what if I deny that claim? Let's even keep it on the 1% level. And I denied your claim 4 times. That means I put $400 into my pocket by creating misery for you, right? And after you insist on making the claim again and again and again and again, on the 5th or 6th time, I finally accept your claim. Where's the repercussion for me recouping $400 to $500 from you by making money off of you because I have denied your claim that many times, to the person that when it comes to be discovered that the claim should have been passed the first go round? Do I as said corporation get to recoup that money from you that I kicked back to you for denying this claim 4 to 5 times? Or do I just let it go? Because to me, I think I should punish you as the corporation to the agent for frivolously making a claim that this claim was frivolous when it really wasn't. Because if you needed knee surgery the first time, and I denied your claim the first time, the second time, the third time, and the 4th time, and then on the 5th time, I said, oh, it turns out you really do need knee surgery. Why don't I get punished for wasting everyone's time and trying to milk the company of $500? Because technically, that company still has to pay out the $10,000 for my knee surgery, don't they not? So what money did I save the corporation by doing that? You're talking to somebody that runs a business, right? So what money? I still had to pay out the $10,000. So what money did you save me? You didn't save me any money. So I didn't really gain benefit from having you deny the claim as many times as I did, or as many times as you representing me did. Because in the end, I still paid out $10,000. So in other words, I actually paid out $10,500. So technically what I should do, since I employ you, I should turn around and recoup that $500 back out of your next check. I don't care whether you have bonuses or not that were legit or not. I'm coming back for my $500 because you shouldn't have made that claim bounce back that many times when I still had to pay out the money anyway. If I'm wrong in my thought process, meaning if it's already a thing in the system, by all means, put a 1 in the chat. For anybody that does, insurance claims, feel free to put a 1 in the chat for me if I am incorrect in what I'm saying. However, if you believe that I should be correct in what I'm saying, do me a favor and put a 2 in the chat or in the comment section, depending on when you're watching this. So, here's the deal. That's not what we came to talk about today, though. Ultimately, the healthcare system needs to change. If Mr. Maggioni is the individual that did, in fact, pull that trigger and assassinate this man with Optimus Prime's weapon, you got to see that thing. That was huge. But anyway, I digress. If he's the individual that did this, legitimately, he should be punished and he should spend a very long time in jail. I don't know what time he should spend in terms of length. Could be life, it could be not. I don't know. However, what we came to talk about today is, should society be concerned? Now, you see the cover on the thumbnail. You see that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are featured on the cover. And the reason why they're featured on the cover is because people have been talking about their bodies recently now that they're in the spotlight for the movie Wicked. And people have made comments in seeming concern for their health and well-being. However, I'm going to make sure that I touch base on that subject specifically, both on one end and on the other. So, I was listening to The View over the weekend. And when I was listening to The View, that particular episode that came up talking about that subject matter piqued my interest, because in that time, there was a lot of discussion about how they feel about people discussing the bodies of women and or men. Now, from a professional standpoint, it is my job to do so. Now, I'm not saying that because it's my job, I have the divine right to do so. I do so in hopes to educate you guys from the perspective of somebody who does this for a living, to either shed light to or to condemn the attitudes of society based on a lack of understanding of what science represents in what the human body should be doing and what it should look like. So, you know, I know some of y'all feel the way y'all feel about me when I talked about Lizzo and false positive body imagery. Well, lo and behold, Lizzo just proved me right, because like in my last video talking about that subject matter, she's working to get in shape. And what did y'all do? Y'all started accusing her of taking Ozempic, which who cares? If she did, she did. She's working on trying to be healthy. If she didn't, so what? I don't care either way. If it affects the nature of her looks, so be it. That's her concern, not mine. And not ours. But if you are a fan of Lizzo's, like many of you are, your concern for her health was one thing. But now when you talk about how she looks, I think she looks phenomenal, by the way. But if you're talking about how she looks in a derisive way, if you're talking about how she looks as though you can now accept how she looks, this conversation isn't for you, because you don't need to talk. Because every time I've spoken on her, it was about the appropriateness of how she appeared in what she was wearing, not necessarily how she looks in what she was wearing. That's number one. Number two, I talked about her fitness and her health, not her beauty, because it has been said by me many of times that Lizzo is a beautiful woman as she was. She did not need to change physically to accommodate for beauty, if that makes sense. I'm not saying she was unattractive at her biggest. I'm also saying at her smallest, whatever that may be, she still is not going to be any more or less attractive, if that makes sense. I also have news for you. Lizzo is a naturally large woman does not mean I am suggesting that she is obese. She was, let me put it that way, and where she will end up should not be a state of obesity, regardless of the size you approve of or not. So what I'm getting at is she's, last time I checked, Lizzo is 5'10", right? If Lizzo got down to 200 pounds at 5'10" tall, who's to say that that's not healthy for her? Who's to say she's obese at 5'10", 200? Who's to say she's obese at 5'10", 180? Who's to say she's obese at 5'10", 170? Do you see what I'm getting at? It is not, I am not determining her health based on what she looks like specifically. Because I'm a professional, I can do that. But I am not going to determine it by weight, because as I have consistently said, your weight is not what determines whether or not you're healthy. Your body composition does, not your weight. If Lizzo at 30 some odd years old is 25% body fat, she's healthy. I said what I said. She could be 300 pounds at 25% body fat. She's healthy and she's fit. Whatever Lizzo's weight is at the time, I am going to tell you, if I knew her body composition, that is my determination of whether or not she's healthy. End of story. But Lizzo is not the topic of subject. It's Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande was featured on an interview and was discussing the concerns for the concern of her body. And I specifically brought up in a YouTube post that there was a time when we witnessed Chadwick Boseman in a frail and disheveled state, and people were making jokes about his appearance, making the assumption that he was on something, only to find out he was suffering from stage 4 colon cancer for over 4 or 5 years. Okay? And many of you felt really stupid making those ill-fated comments about his appearance. Okay? Number one. Number two, you might be making that same mistake here with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. Now, why would I say that? Now, I understand what y'all are doing. Let me stop and rewind and play back. For those of you who have positive intentions for your concern, I understand what you're doing. You're looking at Ariana Grande last time you saw her, which was a few years ago. She had a very adolescent looking face. She was always a slight woman, so it's not like, oh, you know, she was one size one day and all of a sudden she got down to another size another day. What you're dealing with is that Ariana Grande is now in her 30s. Ariana Grande is 31 years old. What you're now looking at is she lost all that baby face fat, that little girl fat off her face. She also mentioned that this is the healthiest she's been, meaning she might have had some really nasty habits, which made her face appear more plumper than it should have looked because she wasn't taking good care of herself. And as a result, now that she is taking her health seriously, especially now that she's in her 30s, maybe, just maybe, what you're seeing now is the real face of Ariana Grande. Okay? And I'm going to go into that here shortly because I want you to see it. But I'm going to play this video. I'm not going to show it on screen because of copyright issues that I want to actively avoid. But listen up and hear this from The View.
Wicked star Ariana Grande and Oscar winner Kate Winslet are two different generations of Hollywood stars.
By the way, I'm going to get on the Kate Winslet portion a little later because I watched that interview on 60 Minutes and it broke my heart. But I'll lead into that later.
Both opening up about how the more things change, the more things stay the same. Say it in French. La change, la plus, la même chose.
Oh, good one, Joy.
I think that was right. Ooh la la. And they agree that it's just the worst thing when it comes to judging a woman's body. Watch this.
A specimen in a petri dish, really, since I was 16 or 17, you know. So I have heard it all. I've heard every version of it, of what's wrong with me. It's something that is uncomfortable no matter what scale you're experiencing it on. Even if you go to Thanksgiving dinner and someone's granny says, oh my God, you look skinnier, what happened? Or you look heavier, what happened? From what you're wearing, to your body, to your face, to your everything. There's a comfortability that people have commenting on that I think is really dangerous.
Okay. She said people feel comfortable commenting and it's really dangerous. I agree to a certain extent. Again, if you're commenting simply to deride, make fun of, insult, if you're making these comments to do those things, you should not be commenting. But where I disagree with Ariana is that, ma'am, you have fans. You have you have fans, friends, and family. If you were actually unhealthy right now, and I'm not suggesting that you are, if you were unhealthy, would you not want somebody to call you out on it? To save your life? Not to make fun at your expense or to give the person who's making the comment an ego boost, because I'm not for that either. But if they were if your fans are genuinely concerned about you because they care, because they connect with you at such a level with your music and your ability to perform, that they feel so close to you that they are trying to ensure your longevity, to enjoy, even if it's on a selfish level, to enjoy you for as long as they can have you on earth. Is that really that bad? Is it really that bad? As opposed to the nasty, hateful, spiteful, demented comments that people could make about your looks. Now, Ariana Grande is also, and Cynthia Erivo, are also beautiful women. So, are also beautiful women. So don't get it twisted. That does not mean that we shouldn't say anything because you're a private person, or we shouldn't say anything because of fear, of concern of how you might take it. Again, you can tell when somebody's hating on you. You can tell if somebody's saying it to try to make themselves feel good. I'm not going to go into the specifics of it, but I'm going to point out that when people see you and you're not living right, they can tell for the most part. And when they call you out on it, it's not because they're trying to make themselves feel better, but because they're sick and tired of seeing their favorite entertainers pass away suddenly, early, unnecessarily, but it is still your life. And that's the part we do have to respect. If you want to eat yourself into oblivion, not saying that this is what Ariana Grande is doing, if you want to eat yourself into oblivion, that is your right. But at the same time, we are concerned if that's what you were doing. If you want to avoid eating yourself into oblivion, not saying that's what you're doing, but we have the right to be concerned. But it's still your right to do so. But both Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are actually slight women. Without a doubt, they are actually slight women. However, one is more active in their fitness journey, meaning when I say that, I'm not saying Ariana Grande doesn't exercise. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Cynthia Erivo is about that muscle on her body. Both of them are shorter than 5'2". I'm going to leave it at that. So if both of them are shorter than 5'2" and they're both slight women, it can appear any slight change in their weight can make a dramatic appearance in change in weight than it would, so say, me. I can lose weight, you'll notice, but you wouldn't be concerned if I lost 3 pounds. You wouldn't be concerned if I lost 5 pounds. You'd be concerned if I lost 15 pounds out of nowhere, right? Also, I'm not suggesting that I can't lose 15 pounds because I could. But if you began to notice a weight change in me, I'm sure you're going to have some concerns. I'm sure my mom would call me up, watch me on video, and be like, hey, what's going on with you? I haven't seen you in a while, but you don't look like you looked like the last time I saw you. You look like you're struggling. And you know what? I probably might get annoyed, like everybody else would. Ma, I'm fine. I'm living good, just stressed out at work, and I don't eat as often as I should, but I'm not avoiding eating. I'm good. I'm not knocking on death's door or anything like that. I'm fine. I'm sure that's how the conversation would have gone. However, to be offended that my mother is concerned about me as she sees me on this screen, I would be a fool to not appreciate my mother's concern over me. Okay? My sister, my brother. Now my wife is with me, so that's a whole nother story. But for my family members that are out there that are watching this channel, if you saw me on video and you were concerned for my safety, fitness, and well-being, and and that's where you going with it, I have no reason to be upset. Like I said, I could be annoyed, but I won't be upset. Cynthia Erivo. So I'm going to share my screen with you and show you pictures of Cynthia Erivo because you need to see what I'm talking about. So to your right, this is Cynthia Erivo's face before getting on a serious fitness journey. Anybody that looks at her face would probably say there's nothing wrong with her face. And I would agree. There's nothing wrong with her face at all. However, when you go from this to this, and I'm not talking about her hair, I'm talking about the thinness in her face. Just looking at her face, mind you. Because you're not seeing the rest of her. I could understand your concern, so to speak. But that's Cynthia Erivo's body in fitness. That's Cynthia Erivo's body in fitness. Again, Cynthia Erivo. Again, Cynthia Erivo. Okay? So, I want y'all to see, yes, her stomach is flatter, she's leaner, but she don't look like she's emaciated. Neither does Ariana Grande. She looks more slight in the face. Again, and just to be fair, again, this is old Cynthia. New Cynthia. Do you notice the muscularity in her body? Does she look like she's wasting? I don't think so. At least from a professional standpoint, I do not think so. I think she's ripped. I think she's jacked. And I think because of her slight frame, it is over-dramatized. Based on my professional opinion of looking at her. I think our concern is over-dramatized. Just like Ariana. And as a matter of fact, let's go check out Ari. Because I have pictures there too. Let's go back. So now, this is the face of Ariana Grande. As you recognize her, quote unquote, right? She's got that little girl face. She looks like she's out of middle school. You know what I'm saying? I'm not joking. I'm cracking jokes on. And I have one to talk because, I'm short and I don't look my age. So I understand her plight. I'm not saying I'm justified in saying it, but it's a joke because I personally suffer from the same issue at times. Nobody believes that I'm 48 or I'm about to be 48. But if I click on this picture, all of a sudden you look at her face and you're like, oh my God, something's wrong because she doesn't have this face. Yes, her face is a little fuller, but again, like I said, she is now 31 years old. She's not a little girl anymore. She's not 16. She's not walking around with a 16-year-old face. All right, she's walking around with the face of a 31-year-old woman. And now we say in the hood, a grown-ass woman, right? Now, does she look unhealthy to you? Honestly, no. From a professional standpoint, no. I will not say that she does. Again, and here's why I can say with definitiveness that I'm certain that she's not unhealthy, right? Because look, this is her when she was a little girl, when she was, in her younger years, right? Look, you see her collarbone, okay, so what? Now, if I'm going to be so forward, you can see breast tissue. You can see her shoulders, but you don't see the bone of her humerus sticking out. These are things that I would be looking for if I were concerned about her health. Again, she's always been a slight woman. I don't see her humerus. All I see is her shoulder. Now, she's not as muscular as Cynthia is, but that's her divine right to not be muscular. I'm not suggesting that she should be muscular. If she doesn't want to be, that's her right. She has the right to be healthy, and we have the right to want her to be healthy, but we don't have to turn around and make her look like every other woman on the planet. Again, now this is her face as we knew it before her grown woman face kicked in, right? Okay? And that's what I'm calling it, her grown woman face. Again, she's not emaciated. Again, not emaciated. It's not like she's struggling. She's just a very slight woman. Every picture I pull up about her, she's slight. She's thin. She's slight. It's that picture with Pete Davidson that I just came by a minute ago. So, what is it that we have to do in order to be happy? What do you got to do? Watch her eat? You don't have to do all that. She clearly is coherent. She doesn't look any different from a physical standpoint except for her face thinned out. The baby fat in her face left her. That's all. That's all it is. It's different because you're not used to seeing her face like that, but it's not, oh my God, what's going on? Oh, her face thinned out. So what? Excuse me. Which leads me to Kate Winslet. Because with Kate Winslet, the attitude about her body years ago was not aligned with what I'm talking about when I was saying that people can be concerned for your health and well-being and have comment on your body in that way without being intrusive to such a degree where you are creating insecurities in the people you are talking about. Everybody has a bad day, and it is time we show grace to when those moments happen. But I'm going to start off. I'm going to play the interview I'm going to let you listen to it because, again, I don't want to get into any copyright issues, but I want you to listen.
And just listen to how she was ridiculed for her weight.
There's cake a little melted and poured into that dress. And, you know, she just needed 2 sizes large and it would probably been okay.
I want to pause it and I'm going to show you what they are talking about. That was Kate Winslet right there. Talking about she was melted and poured into that dress. Meaning that dress was not meant for her.
Gasped at how
I'm gonna go back.
cool some of that coverage was. Just listen to how she was ridiculed for her weight.
There's cake a little melted and poured into that dress. And, you know, she just needed 2 sizes large and it would probably been okay.
She needed to be 2 or 3 sizes larger for the dress. The dress needed to be 2 to 3 sizes larger and it would have been okay.
Gasped.
I'm going to go back to the screen again and share with you. What's wrong with her body? From any standpoint. Why is it that she had to look like she just got off the stage for Miss Olympia for you to be satisfied with how she looks? Not everybody has to look like what you want them to look like in order to be healthy. First of all, she's not very tall. I'm about to find out how tall she is. I believe she's about 5'5", maybe. She's 5'7". Correction. I stand corrected. She is 5'7". What was wrong with her at 5'7"? I don't even know how much she weighed in that picture. I could definitely tell you without a shadow of a doubt it wasn't at a weight where you could consider her obese. I'm almost certain of that. I'm 99% certain that she is not. No, I'm 100% certain she's not. That she's obese. That she's not obese. Excuse me. I'm 100% certain in this photograph and currently, Kate Winslet is nowhere near obese. First of all, if you watch Titanic, she took her clothes off. She didn't look obese then. She didn't look obese in any other movie that she's taking her clothes off in. And I'm glad that she's comfortable doing so. Not from a perverted standpoint, but I'm happy that she is not allowing the naysayers, the peanut gallery, if you will, to dissuade her from performing the art as she wants to portray it through her medium. But I want you to listen, and I'm going to go back because I don't want to play it.
For her weight.
There's cake a little melted and poured into that dress. And, you know, she just needed 2 sizes large and it would probably been okay.
I gasped at how cruel some of that coverage was of you at that time. I know. It's absolutely appalling. What kind of a person must they be to do something like that to a young actress who's just trying to figure it out?
Did you ever get face to face with any of those people?
I did get face to face.
What'd you say?
I let them have it. I said, I hope this haunts you.
Look at her face. Kate Winslet is 49 years old. It is almost 30 years since Titanic. was debuted, which means it is actually 29 years since she filmed it. Okay? And she still, look at this woman's face. She is fighting back tears at 49 years old at the thought of the hateful, despicable commentary about her body as a young woman. 21 years old. She's only 21. She's only 21. I'm going to repeat. She was only 21 in 1998 when this film ran over everything. 98, 99. Maybe 24 years old, actually. She was 21 when it filmed. But 23, 24 years old. And having to be judged in such a way that it had no merit to any kind of concern about who she was as a human being. It did not have anything to do with any type of concern for her health and well-being. It had nothing to do with inappropriateness of how she was dressed. Shoot, for God's sakes, we've watched women walk around in chain link dresses with no clothes on underneath. And y'all decided to talk about this woman in such a way where at 49 years old, she still emotionally struggles talking about it. She didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. They saw a dress that they liked that actually fit them because it fit her. The dress fit her. Whether you liked how it looked on her or not, that's your personal preference. But did the dress fit her? Yes, it did. Did she have to look like she was carved out of stone for you to be attracted to her? Was she not woman enough for you? Did you need more? Did you need less? Well, I'm assuming it would have been less, since the comments was about how she was melted and poured into the dress. Had it been 2 to 3 sizes bigger, it would have been okay, according to y'all. This is the face of how discussing someone's body inappropriately can be misconstrued. I'm going to say that again. This is how it affects a person when you talk about their body in such a way where you have it misconstrued. You don't know what you're talking about. You are judging her by the comparison of the physiques of others. This is not what that was about. That's not what this award show was about. You could talk about the dress, on how the dress looked, not necessarily on her, but the dress itself. You could say, I didn't like the color scheme of the dress. Too many flowers. Spaghetti strap, not in this time. Or this was not the venue for a spaghetti strap dress. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing, fine. Critique away. I didn't like the color scheme. I didn't like the floral patterns. I didn't like whatever about the dress. But when you start talking about the woman in the dress, you're crossing lines. You can say the dress was horrible if that's how you felt about it. I don't think so. I think the dress was nice on her. But if you thought the dress was horrible, and I've seen some horrible dresses. I've seen, Bjorn with the swan dress. That was crazy. All right? The dress was crazy. I'm not talking about Bjorn's body. All right? Lil' Kim's pasty jumpsuit for the MTV Music Awards. That was crazy. I'm not talking about Lil' Kim's body. Jennifer Lopez in the green dress. Not talking about her body. You can say she looked good in the dress, but you're not talking about her body. But when you guys are starting to be in the position of talking about it's one size too big, it's one size too small, she needs to put on a few more pounds to put that dress on, she needs to lose a few pounds to put that dress on. That's the lines you should not be crossing when discussing a celebrity or an entertainer's physical appearance. You can be concerned positively in the sense of, meaning you could be concerned about a weight gain or a weight loss if it seems unhealthy. I believe you have the right to do that as the public. I believe you have the right to do that if you're fans of hers, of theirs, male or female. But what we don't have the right to do is talk about their bodies in such a way where they then develop insecurities over it. And this face is fighting the demons of insecurity from 25 plus years ago. And she shouldn't have had to. I myself have been derided about my size. Now, I'm not even talking about height. I'm just talking about size. Okay? It really didn't stop for me until I was about 16. That's when I really started to get over it, because I knew I was in shape. I knew I was fit. I might not be as tall or as large as other individuals, but I knew I was taking care of my body. I knew my abs were popping. I knew I had a chest. It wasn't a bird chest, as some of y'all would call it. I knew I was in shape. May not be for you, but I knew I was in shape. So those types of things started to go away from me. But I know what it feels like. I know exactly what it feels like to be derided about what I look like. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to play the victim all the time, because sometimes it was about doing the dozens, you know. We were doing the dirty dozens and stuff like that. So we would rag on each other, and the height and the size and the skinny would come up. And at that time I would laugh and I would actually find it funny. But there were times when I may have been attracted to someone, expressed my attraction to them, and it was like, get your skinny little ass up out of here. You understand what I'm saying? It hurts. It genuinely does hurt. It doesn't hurt as much now because I'm me. I've accomplished things. I'm successful. I've done things in life that many other people have not done. So me being small to you, me being short to you, all of those things don't mean a hill of beans to me. Not anymore. Again, 25, 26 years ago, yeah, you would have got me. 27, 28 years ago, yeah, you would have got me. Not now. I'm too old for that. I'm too grown for that. And I've accomplished way too much in my life to be even remotely concerned about that. So I'm going to land this plane. We cannot sit back and censor everybody's thoughts because of fear of what it might do to another person specifically. However, make sure that when you are in fact critiquing or commenting on someone's physical appearance, it is out of concern for that person's well-being at the very minimum. Now, I'm not talking about cosmetic surgeries, because some people, male or female, have done cosmetic surgeries that were uncalled for, unnecessary, and absolutely we should say something if that's what we feel. Again, not derisiveness, not in the sense of derisiveness, but like I was like my episode of The Monster. I wasn't referring to any of the women I was talking about as the monster. I was referring to the state of mind that creates, that I call the monster. The monster of insecurity, the monster of self-hate, the monster of personal desperation for improvement or approval. That is the monster, not the women I was discussing. Little Kim, Serena Williams, Nene Leakes. None of those women am I suggesting are not attractive women. I thought they were beautiful in their original forms. Some have went overboard with the plastic surgery to the point where they're unrecognizable now. They no longer look like who we knew them to be. But I'm not suggesting that at any point that they were unattractive. What I'm saying is that we should be happy with who we are and make small changes to our health to where if it appears a certain way, then so be it. Let it be what it is. But the other monster that needs to be addressed, is, in fact, the monster of criticism. If you're being critical with no intent on finding a solution, sit in the back and keep your mouth shut and let the professionals handle this. Ask a professional before you open your mouth. Ask a professional before you pass judgment. Ask a professional before you feel some type of way about how somebody looks. Because I assure you, we would tell you. And I'm telling you, nobody that I've discussed tonight is unhealthy. Not a solitary person. So, that's my time. Guys, I appreciate you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Have a nice day. Be the best you. Class is Stoutt.